We're going to get started. I want to try to be on time. There are a couple of people who have time constraints. So let's do that. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sunday and the NFBMA State Convention for our final day for the year. I want to first just report to everyone that I want to thank Sean Calloway. He and his wife generously donated $100 for our auction proceeds last night. So thank you, Sean, for your generosity. And I also want to say we've collected, except for one person, we've got all the monies collected. So that thank you all for being so responsive when we called you back for your credit card information. And I want to start with 2 door prizes, please. And for those who don't know, Syed did call in last night in time to get his prize. So.
Okay. We're thrilled that he got it. Okay, today our first door prize is a $25 Visa card from NFBMA, and the name of the person right now is Jamal Nazari.
Nazrui? Yeah.
Nazari.
I don't think he's here, but if he's listening, he can call in. And let's do another one, please.
Okay, the next one is a $20 gift card. It's $20 cash, sorry. And that goes to Maureen Neatfield.
No, she was a presenter, so I don't.
Okay, so she's probably not going to be here.
Right.
Shall we just give you another name then?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, it would be Christopher
The police? The police.
Yeah.
I can hear somebody's jaws. Could somebody please mute themselves? Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good.
Appreciate that. Christopher, are you here? Can somebody look in the list and see?
I don't see it in the list yet.
Okay. Christopher, if you happen to be on and on a phone, then please call my cell number 781-267-4432. Okay. So now we're going to move Charlie from Democracy Live. I see you on, but I don't know whether your CEO is on.
Yes. Good morning. Good morning, Amy. How are you?
I am. Yeah, this is Brian from 206.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brian Finney is on as well. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. I want to introduce now. Voting is a hot topic, and it's going to be something we're going to need to advocate for in terms of accessibility, because it was, as I said yesterday, it was just announced by Secretary of State that they are going to be expanding the use of voting from home, given the success from the last election. So it's going to be even more important that we have a streamlined ability to be able to accomplish that from home safely and privately and independently. So the folks here from Democracy Live are here to present us with a possible solution to that. And I want to introduce their CEO, Brian Finney. So Brian, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much, everybody. My name is Brian Finney, and I'm joined today by Charlie Canoon from Democracy Live. And thank you so much for the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you this morning to talk about, and you're right, about the hot topic of elections and voting. And clearly that's been on everyone's mind over the last number of months. And there's a strong passion on, of course, both sides of the aisle to make sure that, all voters are able to be fully enfranchised with the vote. And one of the things that came out of this last election that we want to share with you is this new movement, I think you just alluded to it, of being able to vote independently and privately wherever you are, both at the polling place and at the home. And so really there are two topics that I wanted to share with you, not so much specific to Massachusetts, although it can be certainly relevant to Massachusetts. What we want to do is share with you our experience over the last election cycle, supporting over 21 states around the country, 2,500 jurisdictions, providing an accessible method to vote, both in the polling place and back at home. As you all may be aware, there's a new report that just recently came out from Rutgers University, talking about how there's over 35 million voters who may have a disability. They may not be able to mark or see or hold a paper postal ballot mailed to them. And so there's some newer technologies that are now available to allow voters to be able to access that ballot from home, and in some cases, electronically return the ballot back to the elections office. And we can speak to that as well. Another type of technology that's coming out right now is the polling place technologies. And I'm not exactly certain where the state of Massachusetts is in terms of your polling place equipment, but in many states around the country, that equipment is 10 or 15 years old, and that's not getting any younger. That equipment, and there may be a movement to replace that accessible equipment in the polling place. And so we're going to share with you just briefly some of the experiences that we're doing around the country, working in partnership with Microsoft and Dell to provide an accessible option for you to be able to vote independently and privately in the polling place as well. So if that all sounds good, I'll kind of start off with just describing briefly who you're talking to here, Democracy Live. We've been around since 2007 now, and we are the leading provider for accessible online balloting in the country, meaning that voters are able to go online, access their ballot, mark it, review it, listen to it through all the different types of browsers and operating systems and screen readers that you may have available to you. And then in this last year, what we pioneered was the ability to electronically return the ballot. Of course, many voters may not have a printer or an access to those additional equipment to be able to print out the ballot. Now, that may be a requirement in the state, but eventually you may want to advocate for electronically returning the ballot. And so there's some ideas we can share with you around that. But primarily, the idea is that all voters, the 35 million voters with disabilities, should have the same ability, as you all know, to be able to vote in the polls or at home, as everybody else has. And now that we've been doing this in over a decade, we've got some experience working with organizations like yourselves around the country, getting feedback about what makes the most sense for you all to be able to access your ballot. And the feedback we've always gotten is, well, we want the same access as everybody else, right? If we want to vote in the polls, let's vote in the polls. If we want to vote at home, we should be able to vote at home. So one of the things that I'm going to share with you is something we're doing in a number of states for the polling place equipment. And I believe in a lot of states are replacing that equipment. And one of the issues that keeps popping up is this concern over the newer equipment that's coming along, which generates like a separate looking, kind of like a receipt of the ballot instead of the same ballot that everybody else uses. And what I mean by that is when we started working with Microsoft and Dell, one of the things that we heard back from the disability community quite a bit is that we want to have the same looking ballot as everybody else. And if we're voting in the polling place, we want to be able to access the ballot, mark it, and have the ballot print directly on top of the same ballot that everybody else uses. So then you don't have to have a different looking ballot, kind of a separate but equal type of looking ballot. And so what I'm going to share with you is that as the state goes through this process, and I would certainly encourage you to reach out and know what that process looks like, put in your feedback, and make sure that whatever the system that ends up being selected it's been in collaboration, in cooperation with organizations like yourselves in your state. And so to really stay on top of that process, make sure that, as the state deliberates on what type of new polling equipment is going to go into the polling place, that you all are very involved in that process. I've seen some states go ahead and make decisions without any engagement with the disability community. And I've seen other states be very, very actively involved, working in collaboration, getting really strong feedback from the different communities. So, stay on top of that. I would recommend, reaching out to the elections office and at your state, and just kind of being aware of what might be going on and what's coming down the pike, so you can be involved in the very beginning of the process. And as you do that, as you collaborate, and discuss maybe with the state, there are two different types of equipment that are out there. One is the type of equipment that we have, as an example, but other providers provided as well. And that is, again, that same uniform-looking ballot. And that would be some of the feedback that we've gotten. That's the number one criteria, is that we want to have the same looking ballot. Of course, it has to be accessible. You have to be able to get into the polling place and be able to access the ballot and mark it. But when it does get marked, to make sure that it's the same looking ballot as everybody else, and not this separate but equal type of ballot. So that's going to be an important element. One of the things that Democracy Live happens to do is, because we work with Dell, it's a very common type of equipment that we provide. It's just a tablet that a lot of people have. It's like, your standard computer or laptop. And then, of course, you have the capability to listen or use a sip and puff device if you have mobility challenges, and that's the polling place equipment. And again, my guess is that most states are going to be replacing that equipment in the next, I don't know, definitely before the next probably presidential, but maybe before 2022. So to be involved and engaged with your state is something that we would highly recommend. And then as you're advising the state, to make sure that one of the requirements is that the same ballot, the ballot that the voters with disabilities use in the polling place, looks the same as everybody else. So I think I'm going to stop there briefly and just see if there's any questions about, some of the things that we've done in these 20 states as it relates to the polling place equipment, and anything we can share with you about that.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Certainly.
Let me ask you something. I care about fraud more than how my receipt looks like. And one of the ways I was wondering, why can't you guys use an app to scan everybody's ID? So you can open the app, scan an ID. Everybody has a barcode these days. So you verify that's the person who's doing, who's doing the election. And it's just, what are you doing for fraud? How you going around that?
Right. That's a great question. It's always that balance between accessibility and security. And the good news is that you don't have to sacrifice one for the other. Now, relating to the polling place equipment, in that regard, you would come into the polling place just like every other voter, and you would show your identification or whatever it is that the state requires to be able to go and get your ballot. So in our case, at least in the polling place, it's not connected to the internet in any way. It's just literally on a Dell laptop computer, and you put on the set of headphones, and you can listen to it, and you can review it, and go back and change your mind if you wanted to, and then it prints out a ballot. What we've also just recently deployed is the ability to confirm that ballot printed correctly. So you can, if you wanted to, you could scan the ballot back in and listen to what was printed before you put it into the Dropbox, or scan it for the tabulation. So from a security standpoint,
why do I need to rely on people to check my ID and verify me?
Okay.
If I can scan it into the equipment?
Richard, that's a different question. That's a different question. And actually, in Massachusetts, I have never been required to give my ID. So in Massachusetts, this is not different than anybody else. Because right now, Massachusetts does not require ID. Now, you might wish that they would, but they don't. So in
Which
that
is not right.
Well, I'm sorry. I may or may not agree with you about that, but that's not the point here. The point here is that this system, as Brian has just explained, this system replicates the same ballot in the polling place. So the same restrictions would apply. If you have to show your ID as a sighted person taking a traditional ballot and marking it, then you would have to do that as a blind person obtaining the tablet. It's the same. Okay, go ahead, Brian.
Thank
other
you.
questions?
And that's
Margaret had one.
Go ahead, Margaret. Margaret, did you have a question?
There she goes.
Okay.
You're unmuted, Margaret, if you have your question, or did you accidentally raise your hand? Okay, well, we can keep going then. Sorry.
Okay. All right. That's okay. Okay, Brian, go ahead.
certainly. And you're absolutely right. The goal, and we work pretty closely with Dell and Microsoft to make sure that we are one of the approaches that we've been told all the time is that for everybody, regardless of disabilities. And we want to have the uniform process, regardless of disabilities, meaning that however you come into the polling place today to access a paper ballot or to go vote on the machines, it would be the same process for everyone. And that includes the output of the ballot would be the same as well. The output of the ballot is that you would have that same uniform ballot, and that ballot would look like and feel like and actually be the same ballot that everybody else has. And so one of the reasons why we wanted to share with you or come on this program today, and again, we want to thank you for the opportunity, is that one key point is that there are kind of diverging technologies taking place in the polling place. And some are these proprietary machines that generate a different looking ballot for those people that are using the accessible machine than everybody else. And then you have more of the off-the-shelf approach, which is leveraging a Dell computer and just an off-the-shelf equipment to be able to, at a lower cost and in our opinion, a little bit more accessible because people have Dells or they have an HP or a Lenovo back at home. So it's a fairly similar type of approach that you might be more accustomed to in the polling place because you have the same type of device or equipment in the home. So again, I don't know what the plans are for the state of Massachusetts. They do have kind of some aging equipment out there. So eventually they're going to have to replace that. And in all the experiences that we've had around the country, the organizations like this one, who's actively involved and being proactive with that, tends to get more of what they are looking for if you start working with them up front. So that's my only small suggestion here for today's discussion. Because if it's in a vacuum, they'll just make a decision on their own, right? Possibly. But if you get engaged and involved early on, you'll have a lot more influence. So that's the polling place. Any questions about that at all?
Yes.
Margaret, you're unmuted. Do you want to ask a question?
Hello?
Yep.
Hi, Margaret.
Ashley can hear me. I'm sorry, I don't know what's with this phone. My concern is that many times you hear about you go in to vote and the people that work there don't know how to do the equipment. I'm wondering how difficult is it to set this up and how easy is it for the workers to be able to get it the right way?
That's an excellent question. And actually it brings up a couple of points that I can share with you briefly. And one, just directly about your question, when you have the same type of equipment that people are used to seeing in their homes, be it a Dell or a Lenovo or an HP or some type of at-home computer, and then you see it in the polling place, As a poll worker, it's a little bit less intimidating when you have something that's the same thing that they already are used to using. So at least in our experience, if you bring in a whole separate looking machine and it's very specific and they haven't used it before and they might only set it up once every 2 years for an election, it's a bit more intimidating. But if it's something that they're used to seeing in their homes, maybe it's an HP printer with a Dell laptop or something, right? Generally, it's a little bit easier to train, and therefore they tend to set it up more. But that's another really, really important point. One of the things in our experience working with elections officials all over the country is that there is this false equivalency between how many voters are actually voting in the polling place and how many voters with disabilities could really benefit from an accessible ballot. And I get this all over the country. I've got it for 2002 when the Help America Vote Act first came out. And that is that, in fact, I was just talking to one very large jurisdiction on Friday, had close to 2 million voters. And, they had probably 30 voters at most actually use the accessible machines. And so in their opinion, they only had 30 voters, right, out of a population of 2 million. Well, we know that, the U.S. Census, Rutgers University just came out last week, I think on Thursday, with a study that showed, there's nearly 12 to 15% of voters that have some level of disability, right? So obviously it's 10% of 2 million is nearly 200,000 voters. It's not 30. So as you talk to your state and educate them with your outreach, it's really important to let them know that there's a far wider population of voters out there than just the number of voters that are perhaps voting in the polling place. And it may be because the elections officials will say, well, then why is that? How come they're not voting at the polling place? Well, I don't have necessarily the answer. You probably have a better answer than I would have, but it could be that voters with disabilities have a difficult time getting to the polling place. Or maybe in the past, they've gone to the polling place and the machines have been a little bit funky or perhaps they weren't set up, and so it's dissuaded voters from actually coming down and voting. But I know we're a little bit short on time here, so I'll kind of use that as a segue, then I'll open it up to any further questions that you might have. And that is this idea of being able to vote at home. And whether it's our technology or another technology, that's a growing in fact, it's the fastest growing method of voting in this country is having the at-home voting or absentee voting. And that's been great for, Charlie and I on the call here because we can hold or see or mark a paper postal ballot. But having an accessible ballot is critical, right? That's equal access to voting at home. And if you're not able to get to the polling place, you should definitely have an accessible option to vote at home. And I think Massachusetts piloted something in this last presidential. Democracy Live actually pioneered accessible absentee voting back in 2008 for the first time. We've been doing it, we have about 80% of all the states that actually do it around the country. But one thing to think about as part of the same dialogue that you might have with the state is eventually, maybe not next year, but when you have an accessible option to vote at home, currently the majority of states, including the ones that we support, they require that the ballot gets printed at home and then mailed back in. And that's a great first start. But eventually, you want to make sure that, we did this in a handful of states and it worked really, really well to allow voters to be able to access their ballot from their home computer or their home device, your smartphone, access your ballot, mark it, and then electronically return it. Because a lot of voters who may have, a disability or are blind may not have a printer, right? And so it kind of defeats the purpose to require something that they don't have. And it might be difficult for somebody who's paraplegic or got palsy to be able to get a ballot into an envelope and then get it down to the mailbox. So the idea of an electronic return of the ballot is just starting to kind of bubble up right now. We happen to have deployed it, I think, in about 205 jurisdictions around the country in the presidential election. So in the context of your conversations, with the state around polling place equipment and making sure that there's a uniform ballot for everybody, not a separate looking ballot. In that same conversation, you can also say, hey, eventually we would like to be able to, get to the point where we can electronically return our absentee ballot. So those are the two kind of newer kind of concepts and technologies that came out of this last presidential election. And that's why we wanted to show up today. And again, we thank you for the opportunity to share with you some of the things that are bubbling up in the world of accessible voting. And I'd be happy to answer any final questions that you might have in the last couple of minutes that we have.
Mika?
Mark Paquette.
Good morning. This is Mika Paikla. I'm one of our national legislative directors. And so just for some background, in Massachusetts, a lot of times we've been using the auto mark machines. And so we have an actual voting rights bill this year that we're working on nationally. And one of the components of it that's kind of interesting is that it says that most polling machines or polling machines should be accessible. So in other words, instead of having to go to just one dedicated machine, the idea, it would be almost like ATMs where most of the equipment would be accessible. And I'd be curious on your thoughts on that. And then secondly, I know you mentioned your in-polling place solution used a computer instead of maybe like a joystick type interface on a traditional kiosk. And I'm just wondering, I know Amy works with a lot of newly blinded folks, and it might be interesting to do some testing to kind of compare which solution. I'm sure I would anecdotally say that students and professionals would be more comfortable with a computer, but I'm not sure about folks that are older and newly blind. So those are just some thoughts I have as I'm listening to your presentation, and thanks for being here. I've heard about you guys a lot, but this is the first time I've actually been able to sit down and listen to one of your presentations.
Well, thank you for those two comments, and I'll just quickly respond back to both of them if I can. The idea of sort of everyone using the same device is sort of the holy grail, right? So it's not like you get paper and you use the machine and you get paper and you use the machine. If everybody used the same type of input, that would be great. Historically, the equipment that's been used in the AutoMark's been great. I tried to license it back in 2003 or 4 from people that actually initially built it. I loved it because it provided, kind of the same ballot that everybody else had. And that was really neat. Of course, that was back in 2003, 2004 when it was first developed. And so now it's probably reaching some level of end of life. And so replacing that with something that produces not the same looking ballot, but like a receipt looking ballot, obviously is kind of a step backward instead of step forward. There is that possibility of providing, in fact, I think I got a call with the state on Monday or Tuesday about providing our tablets, because if you think about it, a Dell tablet is just something that's off the shelf, right? It's not that expensive. It's probably a third of the cost of the other types of more proprietary machines that are out there. And so when you have a lower cost, then you can distribute those tablets more widely, right? You can get 3 times more, or whatever the budget is for the state, you can get more of those tablets out there. And so it's a more uniform approach. So I think it's a great idea. I'll say quickly that one of the national level, and if you're looking at national legislation, we all know that the HR 1 or the For the People Act has a really good section in that legislation that I believe requires an accessible absentee ballot for each one of the 50 states. And you're lucky with Massachusetts, I shouldn't say lucky, probably because of you all, they actually did it, but they provided an accessible option for ballot delivery in the presidential election. Not all the states are doing it. So it's a great step forward. However, one of the things in the HR 1 or the For the People Act, it prohibits even the exploration of an electronic return of the ballot. And that really, what that does is it suppresses full accessibility and full independence and privacy, because now you're still having to require or rely upon somebody else to kind of help you sign or maybe fold the ballot and mail the ballot for you, and you have to give up your privacy. So in the For the People Act, if you all can kind of garner some of your energy around at least allowing and not prohibiting electronic return, and let pilots happen or let technology blossom and bloom instead of prohibiting it categorically out of the box. And that's what it currently does. So you may want to explore that a little bit, because when you prohibit something, it means that there's no companies like Democracy Live could never work with you all to try to figure out a best way to electronically return the ballot. So that's just kind of a sidebar.
I believe Mark Paquette had a question. Mark?
Yes, I did, both a question and a comment. One of the problems that I had tried getting the voting machine and bring it into a senior development. And I had a real problem getting hold of that machine so I could bring it in and show it, because in my voting district, I seem to be the only one using that machine. And I've had problems. I've had problems where the machine wasn't working several times, and other times people not knowing where the machine was and not having it set up, and having to set it up myself, and very, very, very frustrating. And the other is a question I need to ask. I don't know if you saw 60 Minutes this past Sunday, where they were showing that Russia has hacked very, very severely the Microsoft system, and where they were able to steal all kinds of things from the government and from personal systems all over the country. And they've been doing this for, seems, quite a long time, including quite a few military secrets. And that would have quite a bit of impact on being able to possibly manipulate the return of the electronic ballots. What's your comment on that?
Right. And of course, security is preeminent, but again, we can't forego accessibility either. So we have to continue to strive to work in collaboration with the cybersecurity community, with the academic community, with the elections officials, and of course, voters that could benefit from the technologies. Nothing is 100%, right? Nothing's 100%. Doesn't mean that we stop doing elections. And the reality is that we have a fairly significant need out there to try to continue to explore new technologies and new securities to make sure that all voters, regardless of disabilities, have the same franchise as everybody else. Again, the polling place, just to be clear, that the Dell tablet approach that we're taking in the polling place, that's not connected to the internet in any way, right? That's a very closed environment. It's not connected to the internet. It's just really an accessible ballot marking solution. As it relates to the accessible at home and electronic return, 60 years ago, we put a man on the moon and returned him safely back to the planet, right? What we're talking about here is delivering a document to a voter somewhere in the world, right? An accessible document, in this case it's a ballot, and returning it safely back to the elections official, right? I think we can get there as America, right? We can figure these technologies out, because the alternative is to not do it, right? The alternative is to continue to disenfranchise voters who may not be able to make it to the polling place. So that's why the collaboration and the communication with all stakeholders are vital, and that nothing should ever be deployed until it's been very, very well tested and vetted. In our case, we happen to have had it tested by the Department of Homeland Security. We've had it reviewed by the Cyber Intelligence Security Agency and over 100 cybersecurity researchers. But again, nothing's 100%. I mean, somebody could open up your mailbox and take the ballot out, right? So what we want to do is find the balance between security and accessibility.
Okay, thank you so much. And I want to acknowledge, thank you both for coming on, and Democracy Live very generously donated $500 to our affiliate. And we greatly appreciate that donation, your presence this morning. I know it's early there. And also just we will continue to dialogue about this. It's a very interesting and important topic. So thank you both for your participation.
Well, thank you for the invitation. Have a great conference.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. let's do a couple of quick door prizes. We did not hear from Christopher Saplice. So.
Okay, so that prize is still up, which is a $20 cash prize.
Mhm.
And so our next winner is Chris Walker.
Let's see.
I don't think he's here this morning, but he's been here for the whole thing.
Yeah, I know. And
I know.
I didn't
But
double check.
Chris Walker, if you are here, call my cell phone 781-267-4432. Let's go on to another one.
Okay, so our next cash prize is also $20. And our next winner is Greg Bedard.
Well, is Greg on?
Yep. I'm here.
All right. Terrific.
Congratulations.
Okay.
All right.
And you want to do one more?
Sure, we'll do one more. We'll do another cash prize. And hold on one second, please.
Sure.
And our next winner is Christina Constant.
Christina, I think you're here. I saw you in the list.
Hand
I
raised.
saw her earlier too.
Hey.
Oh, congratulations, Christina. You've
Great.
won $20 cash. Enjoy.
Terrific. Okay. I'm going to go slightly out of order because our nominating committee chair needs to leave sooner than later. So we are going to have our next presentation, which is on apps from Shane Lowe. But before we do that, I want John Oliveira to please just review the nominating committee's recommendations for the slate for elections, which will occur following the next presentation. So, John?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Amy. And just a review from what we mentioned last night. The nominating committee met again, Barbara Lomax and Bob Barron and myself. And here's the slate as we presented it to you last night. Amy Rule for president. First vice president, Shara Winton. Secretary, second vice president, Mika Paikala. Secretary, Lena Bandy. The treasurer is being appointed by Amy. The directors that are currently up for election this year are David Tiki and Karen Dupuis and Mark Piquette. The currently serving directors that are not running this year are Precious Perez, Barbara Lomax, and Colin Gallagher.
Great.
And that's the slate for the election. Thank you very much, and we'll see you at the voting.
Okay, thanks so much, John. Appreciate it. Okay, now I want to introduce a voice that probably is more familiar to you now than perhaps it was before this convention started, particularly helpful to us on Talent Night on Friday, donating auction items, and just has been to our convention before and helped with the broadcasting of the convention. So, and we welcome from Kentucky, but I think he's got a little piece of his heart in Massachusetts, Shane Lowe.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be, watch your feet, I'm going to be dropping names all over this thing. I know so many of you guys. You guys probably know at least 50% of the stuff that I'm going to talk about. So the way that I like to run this is I like to give you the general kind of rundown about what we do, who we are, this kind of stuff. You know, people have been babbling at you for an hour. They'll babble at you for another hour. So then I want to open it up for a little Q&A, a little discussion. Try to keep it as organic as we can to talk about this innovative stuff, because ultimately this is about how us, the blind people, the users of these products, are going to live our lives. And so this is a discussion that you need to be a part of, no matter how much time that takes away from me. So I'm going to keep my intro very brief. I'm Shane Lowe. Probably a lot of you know me. I'm thanks so much to Amy. Thanks so much to Precious for having me on. Thanks so much to I gotta return the shout out, my good friend Sean Calloway, very important mentor of mine, my first mentor in the NFB scholarship national program. I appreciate you so much. And thanks so much to all of you guys. I really appreciate your time. So I work for a company called Mediate. We're based in Cambridge, have partnerships with MIT, National Science Foundation, and probably we've harassed a lot of you in the past because user feedback drives what we do. Every company says that, but our roadmap, as a blind consumer, I've looked at our roadmap and it has been completely formed based on the feedback that we have. And so my job as a blind person working for this company is to represent the blind community, to represent the company, and to filter through the feedback that matters the most. So this whole thing is driven by what you say. So we started a couple of years ago. One of our co-founders is a specialist in AI and computer vision development in AI systems, and the other is specializing in social entrepreneurship that benefits underserved communities. So these two guys came together. I'm not a co-founder. These guys came together and talked about who they could benefit, where their skills could be best applied, and decided on the blindness field. They wanted to go in and benefit the blindness community. So they started surveying people in Massachusetts. They may have bothered you a time or two. I may have bothered you a time or two after I joined the company, and decided that we wanted to start with navigation. And that's where the first version of SuperSense comes in. It was only available on Android at the time. Now it's available on Android and iOS, but at the time it was only open on Android. And all it would do is tell you what's in your area as you're panning your phone's camera around. You could also look for specific items. So if you're looking for a doorway, if you're looking for a person, a seat, anything like that, it could tell you specifically, but that's all it did. It looked for stuff in your area. And then we started talking to people and like, okay, how's the app working for you? And they were like, yeah, well, it's great. But I really wish that it did some more stuff. I really wish, like, can you guys scan documents, or can you guys like read barcodes? Like, this is cool, but like I'd really appreciate some more stuff. So we went back in, started developing SuperSense for iOS. And that's kind of where we are today in 2021. We have SuperSense out on Android and iOS. And what SuperSense does is our goal is to provide the most reliable, most efficient platform for you to scan documents, barcodes, currency, objects, all of these things. You can import photos and PDFs. You can import PDFs up to 400 pages, I believe. The document scanner is my personal favorite because it works the best out of anything I've tried on the phone or off the phone, including the devices that you plug in and put on a stand, and you put the paper under, like on the bottom of the stand. It works incredibly well just by giving simple directions for how to hold the camera. It gives you simple directions. It helps you understand how to hold the camera. And then when it takes the picture, because the picture is so much better, the quality, the accuracy of what you get back is so much better. There's a ton of sharing options. I usually get the question, why, excuse me, why should I care about SuperSense when we have free options like Seeing AI? And I always give a two-pronged answer to that question. The first is on the technical side. Our document scanner works faster, more accurately, and with better directions. We have better sharing options, more diverse sharing options. You have the ability to import 400-page PDFs. You can read the text out of photos. You can look for objects. You can get info from the barcode reader, and you can save it for the future if you want. You can now label your own barcodes. We've really been working on the barcode reader in the past few months to help out a lot of people who ended up being really worried when the ID Mate got discontinued. So we've been really working on our barcode reader to help people out there. And which leads me to the second part of my answer, which is this company actually cares. As a blind consumer, I have been seriously, I get really despondent sometimes when I look at these companies that say, that they're community based or that they're about the community, and then, I really don't get that feeling when I interact with them, through technical support, through sales, through something. And so our goal is to always listen to what you have to say and always act on what you have to say. So you can request tech support training for free from right within the app. We're happy to help you. You'll be connected right to me. If you have trouble paying for the app, it is a paid app. I'll talk about that in a second. We can work with the Mass Commission or your state to get the app paid for. And as I say, your ideas, your feedback is what drives development forward, which I'm also going to talk about in just a moment. So SuperSense is paid. You do have to pay for it. We have this really bad habit of being able to, or enjoying the idea of being able to afford dinner. So it's just really tragic. I have to apologize for that. But you also fund our research. We work with, I mentioned some great companies earlier that we work with to hold all, we're trying to solve problems that other companies haven't solved before, other products haven't solved before. So we're really open and transparent about that process because we really don't look at these guys, the Seeing AIs, the Envisions. These guys aren't our competitors because we're all working to benefit the same community, right? So it doesn't make sense to look at these guys as competitors. But we're still trying to make the best product that we can, and to do that, we have to solve problems that haven't been solved before. And that research is insanely expensive. If we put any more of the costs, like the sales from SuperSense, the price of SuperSense is a tiny fraction of what the research costs are, but anything that you guys are giving really helps us because that's what we need to do to keep funding the products that we're making, like Super LiDAR. That's the next app I want to talk to you about. We just put it out about a month ago, and I personally love Super LiDAR because it has the potential to change the way that we as blind people get information about our environment. LiDAR is actually really old. LiDAR was invented and deployed in the 1960s. Elton John was also deployed in the 1960s, if you remember. And I love them both. If I had to pick one, I might pick Elton John, but the company would pay me to pick Super LiDAR. So I'm going to talk to you about Super LiDAR instead of Elton John. So what Super LiDAR will do, well, let me tell you what LiDAR does first, actually, because it's really cool. LiDAR uses light waves to analyze depth in an environment. And what that translates to in Super LiDAR is Super LiDAR uses that LiDAR detection to point out where objects are around you, what they are, and how far away they are. So obviously the first line of defense, the most primary navigation tool is the cane, is the guide dog, your own senses. That's always the most important. This is by no means a replacement for these things. However, I use my cane and I use echolocation, and I don't have a LiDAR equipped device, but I've done a lot of extensive testing on Super LiDAR, and what it will do is give you extra info so you know what something is and where it is. You can also use it to find things. So the way that it works, you have a LiDAR equipped device. So currently this is only the iPhone 12 Pro, the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and the iPad Pro. But we believe, almost positive, that Apple are going to be equipping all of their new iPhones released with LiDAR sensors. So this is getting phased in. This is coming in more and more frequently. And the Super LiDAR will, when you're holding it up with the LiDAR sensor out in front of you, it will play a pitch. So if the area is completely open, it'll just give you like some cool beeping sounds. And then the pitch will start out high as it detects an object. And then if it right now it recognizes a few things, we're currently working on implementing our Object Explorer stuff into Super LiDAR so that it can recognize hundreds and hundreds of random things like SuperSense will do. But right now it's a few things. We're expanding that. And then as you get closer to that obstacle or that thing that it detects, the pitch will get lower, and then it will start vibrating when you get within so many feet of it, and then it will vibrate faster as you get closer to it. So the goal there is to really help with navigating and getting information about your environment while having that information be not so obtrusive that you can't focus on the primary defense, the primary sensory info. And that app is free because we recognize that you spent enough on your modern Apple device, so you don't have to pay anything for Super LiDAR. If you have an applicable device, you can try it as soon as you'd like. SuperSense gives you a 7-day free trial, by the way. And also, for listening to me ramble at you for the last roughly 20 minutes, I will give you a free promo code, so you can try SuperSense for a month if you would like. Amy, if you don't mind, feel free to send my info out. I'll put it in the chat as well. You can request a call within the app or send me an email, and I will happily send you a code. They're individual, so I can't share one with all of you. They're individual. I will send you a code that'll give you an extra month of SuperSense if you'd like to use it. I'm going to put my info in the chat, and while I do that, I'd love to open it up for questions, for ideas, for feedback of any kind. I'd love to hear what you think and what you have to say about this stuff.
How much is
Thank you so much.
SuperSense normally?
Oh, SuperSense is $5 monthly, $50 annually, or $100 for lifetime.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Any questions?
Jeanette Kutash.
And I have to say, I've
Hi.
seen the Super LiDAR demonstrated, and I think it has great potential. And you're right, it's not so intrusive. How does one get the subscription for SuperSense at this point? Where does
So
one go?
you mean the paid subscription or the free
Yes.
month?
No, the paid.
Oh, the paid subscription. So you go when you download SuperSense, just click into there's a menu in the top left corner. Click into the menu, and then there's an option for subscriptions.
And is there a family shared subscription, or are they individual?
They're based on Apple ID. So if you have the family sharing enabled on your Apple ID, that should apply to your subscription also.
Okay. And if you share your email, well, I'll get it from Precious or from you.
Yep, I just sent
my
it in the
husband and I
chat.
will
Actually, I just
get
sent it to Kevin by accident.
I have
He
it
sent
too.
it
with you.
into the chat. Thanks,
We
man.
will be in touch with you. Thank you.
I put it in
Thank
the
you so
chat
much.
to everybody, and then
Thank
we
you.
have,
Yeah, I appreciate. I don't know why.
it's only
usually-
set to go to host. It's set to only
Oh,
go
okay.
to
I
host.
was
Yeah.
like,
All
I don't
right.
see the general public anywhere. This is so weird.
Izzy.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
Hi, my name is Izzy. So I have a question.
Hey, nice
So
to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. So what's the difference? Because I know you mentioned seeing AI. So what's the difference between seeing AI and then SuperSense?
Sure. So, a couple of things. SuperSense has the easiest way to describe it is the directions that you get when you're scanning a document. SuperSense will help you take a better picture, so the document is going to come out a lot clearer. I usually get like a maximum of 2 errors per page with SuperSense, as long as you're holding the camera correctly, and it'll help you do that. Also, you can scan multi-page documents, like books, reports, things like that, all into the same one. You can export them as PDF. You can share specific parts of the document if you don't want to share the whole thing. You can click on contact info directly. You're probably noticing a pattern here, which is that the goal is to make it really efficient. We're trying to keep everything running smoothly, have it as few steps as possible. Another example of this is the smart scanner that we have. So the smart scanner it wraps up our document reader, our quick text, like instant reader thing, the object explorer, the barcode reader, and the currency reader, all into one feature. So you can select those individually if you want, or you can use the smart scanner and it will automatically figure out what you're scanning, so you don't have to select anything. It'll scan it automatically for you. SuperSense also has read history, so if you forget something, if you want to go back and share something, anything like that, you can go into read history and re-access it. That's cleared when you close the app just for your privacy. We try to keep security, privacy in the front of what we do, so we want to make sure that that's secure. And all those features, by the way, came from requests from users. So that's really personally, my favorite thing about SuperSense is that all of the stuff that we do comes from what users ask us to do.
Can you scan a document and save it in your computer or somewhere, not just read it?
Yeah, absolutely. You can save the document like as a PDF. You can email it to yourself. You can text it. You can save it to the cloud. You can do anything you want.
Thank you.
Of course. Absolutely.
Marinella?
Yes, thank you.
Wait to be called on, please, folks.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Hi, no worries. Nice to meet you.
Same. I just downloaded SuperSense to my iPad Air. I haven't been touching it as much, but I do have an idea. One of my students was talking about seeing AI with expiration dates, and I passed that idea along. And I figured you guys should get that idea as well, because as visually impaired people, we can't really see that expiration date until we smell milk going bad.
That's true. Yeah, this is a problem that I have too. I didn't mention this because I forgot. I'm also totally blind. The problem with expiration dates is that two problems with expiration dates, actually. One, they're never in the same place. And two, they're semi-often in a place where they are either smudged or obscured by something else or over top of other text. Like, they're never easy to read. Even, like, ask any sighted people, expiration dates are not fun to read in most cases. So I feel like the reason that we haven't put an expiration date search in for SuperSense is because 5% of people would be like, this is super cool, thank you so much for being innovative, and 95% of people would be like, it doesn't read the expiration date, why did you even put this in here, because it can't see it. And that's just a fault of the cameras and the AI. We're just not able to pick it out. And there's no database either. This is something that we looked into. There's no database for expiration dates of products, so we can't cross-reference it with the barcode either, because they're different. So that's one of those tough problems to try to solve. I wish that we had one that we could put in, and we're always looking for solutions to this. So if we find something, and you'll definitely see it. That's just where we are currently.
Good morning. I'm happy to say that
hey,
I
man.
haven't heard of this app before. Hey, so I've just downloaded it.
Thank you.
I'm curious. Couple things with the barcodes. Which barcode database or databases you use, and also in terms of the object recognition. Are there any things in real life that you found that this really helps you with that maybe some of the other apps fall short in?
Yeah, absolutely. So the database we use is the United States barcode database. So it's regularly updated. It's probably the most comprehensive, and it's definitely the most comprehensive that we've found. So this one definitely picks up more stuff in my personal pantry than any of the others that I've tried. Let me know if you have any suggestions. If you don't have the same experience, please let me know. And then for Object Explorer, yeah, this thing is really useful to me. LiDAR is going to do this better. Super LiDAR will do this better because it reports distances and it can give you a little bit more direction. But SuperSense lets you follow the camera. So if it sees something, you know where the camera's pointing and you can follow the camera to it. So I use this a lot in airports. I have had the experience, and actually several of our users have reached out to me with the same experience. This is really useful in like public bathrooms. You don't have to do as much searching with your cane. It's kind of nice. This is useful to find like reception desks or exit doorways, elevators, that kind of stuff, staircases. So I use it actually. Some people tell me they use it in their house. I use it. I never use it in my house, but I always use it when I'm out in a new place that I've not been to before.
Mark.
Hey, Mark. Good to see you again.
Wonderful. Thank you. Can I scan for, let's say, barcodes and then write a script to have them imported and then exported to an Excel spreadsheet?
Sure. You can share the barcodes. So the info that you get on the barcode, you can save that as well. You can save it as a PDF. You can send it to yourself, email, text, cloud. So I'm sure that there's a way that you could adapt that to put it into Excel.
Jennifer Bose.
Thank you. And also,
thank you.
Hi, everybody. Oh,
great to be able to have it scan the room and find all the glasses that people have left around.
Yes, absolutely.
it sounds like this works really well. I wonder how it does with, I guess, two things. How does it do SuperSense and LiDAR, if you can talk about it, do outdoors? And two, what's the training?
So the SuperSense and Super LiDAR handle outdoors both really well. There's really no, like, it handles outdoors as well as it handles indoors. Usually that's dependent on, the camera quality and the specs that you have in your phone. Super LiDAR, which is a different app, by the way, is going to handle everything better that it does than SuperSense, because Super LiDAR is designed as a navigation app. SuperSense, the Object Explorer and Object Find are still very useful, but they only use your iPhone's camera, which isn't able to see as clearly, get as much information as the LiDAR sensor on the new devices. So that's the only kind of distinction I would make. And then for the training, do you mean the training that I can do, or the training that's like in the app, like tutorials material?
Either one. I mean, what sources of training are good?
Yeah, of course. So
and of course, you're probably great.
Sure, you can. Thanks. You can. There's a help manual in SuperSense. You can take a look at it. There's also an audio tutorial. I just recorded a new draft of that, actually, that has all the new features and all the new stuff in it. So you're able to access that. It'll be in the next update. We'll have the audio tutorial implemented. The current one is very out of date. And then also you can request a call from within the menu in SuperSense, and I will give you a call back, and any issues you have, any questions, any feedback, we can run through that together.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Amy?
Yeah, I guess my question is, hey, you know who I am. How nice to see you. And thank you for doing this. I guess my question is, it's a piggyback on Mark Paquette's question, which is, is there an option for sharing barcodes with other SuperSense users?
Oh yeah, you could share a barcode with anyone if they use SuperSense, or if they don't use SuperSense, you can share that info.
Right, but I mean, is there a community of users that's invited to share their barcodes across?
Oh, you mean the labels, the custom labels?
Yeah.
That's our next step, actually, because the only thing that we have to figure out there, we have the labeling implemented. What we now have to figure out is what happens if someone labels the barcode incorrectly. Like, they scan a bag of chips that's not recognized, and they feel the bag of chips, and they're like, oh, sure, this looks like Ruffles. And then they label it, and then it isn't. So we have to figure out a good way to make sure that stuff's correct, because we don't want anyone to be like disappointed or worried about the quality of the custom database. Even though most of them will be right, we're just trying to think of a good way to make sure that it's really reliable. So that's coming pretty quickly.
Kabina?
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Same here. So
Thanks.
I was at the same demonstration of the super LiDAR, and my question
Thank
is
you.
more about implementation, because I'm assuming that the audio tones are ones that you guys put in place. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. The question that came up in that demonstration was the higher pitch sounds basically went down as you approached the object,
Exactly.
which sounds rather counterintuitive. Usually, at least traditionally, with implementation of audio tones, they've tended to be the opposite. I mean, light detector, other things, the closer you get, the higher the pitch. So some of us were curious why. You have some rationale that you can share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Two things. One, the reason that we did that was we were worried that a lot of people would turn on the app in their house or in, an office space where there's a lot of clutter or a lot of things in the area. And so we were worried that the high pitch immediately would be alarming to people, because it makes sense for it to start low and then get higher if you're approaching something gradually. But we didn't want it to be alarming to people to turn it on in a crowded space and just be, bombarded with this high pitched sound. But also a lot of people have mentioned this. This is something that we're happy to fix. It's an easy fix too. So we are going to add a setting pretty soon to fix that. So you can switch it to go from low to high if you'd rather do that, or turn it off altogether. Some people didn't like the pitch. A lot of people did. Some people didn't like it. So we're trying to make that more customizable.
Oh, sounds good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. My pleasure.
Okay, we do need to stop.
Yeah, I don't want to go over time.
No, you're fine. We do need to stop and move on to other business, but I want to thank you. And I think some of us are going to definitely be downloading the app and the apps and trying them out and giving you feedback. And nice to know we have such an easy connection to communicate with. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Feel free to email or request a call if I wasn't able to answer your question. Always happy to chat. Thank you guys so much. This was a great time.
Thanks, Shane. Okay. We did not get a call on the last door prize. So if we could do those two door prizes plus that one.
Okay. I'm sorry if they didn't win. Okay, the next one is another $20 prize, and the name here is David Dumpsey.
Do not see him.
I think it's from out of the area, so maybe he's not even listening.
David, if you're here, then please call 781-267-4432 in the next 4 minutes. And let's do another one.
Okay. Zachary Guzzi from Attleboro. Gousie.
Yeah, don't see him.
Not in the list, yeah.
No, don't see him. Zachary, if you're here, same thing. How about another one?
Okay, next one is Beth Lombardi from Springfield.
Beth, are you on? I see a bunch of 413 numbers. Beth, are you here?
*9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute if you dial in.
Okay. All right, same thing. Let's draw another name because I bet at least one of these three people is not going to call in.
Okay, the next one is Melissa McCarthy from Concord.
No, don't see that either. Melissa, if you're here, call 781-267-4432. Okay. Let's draw one more name.
Oh, I know this one's here. Isaac Roberts from Springfield.
Isaac. Yep. Isaac was here.
I heard his voice before, so I know he's here.
Isaac, are you here? Let's see if he's here now.
I'm here.
All right, terrific.
All right, yay.
All right,
$20.
Me.
Great.
I'm here.
Good. All right, you got it. Congratulations. Okay.
All right. We'll see if
So
any of
now-
the others call in.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm here.
Okay, we got you, Isaac. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got you. We hear you. Okay. I want to move on to the board meeting. And we're going to start. I want to give Rachel, who had some computer issues last night, Rachel, one of our scholarship winners, an opportunity. She would like to speak, as she wasn't able to get that working last night. So Rachel, if you want to unmute and say a few words, please join us.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh,
Great,
good. You can hear me.
Yeah.
All right. That's good. I apologize for last night. I had some technical issues. I just wanted to say thank you. I am very, very appreciative, not just for the scholarship, but for all the new connections and getting to know everyone and attending the convention this year.
Well, we appreciate your hard work and appreciate having you and hope that you continue to join us. So thank you. Okay. So I want to also, we delayed presenting the Federationist of the Year award and postponed it until today so we could make sure the recipient was here. And I have to say, you know, a lot of people say they're going to do something, and sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. But I have to say, I don't think I could have done my job without the help of this recipient. Nora Nagel, because of some persuasive arm twisting in some ways from one of our more skilled members, agreed to take on the treasurer's job. I'm not sure she ever really wanted to do it necessarily, but she wanted to help out in any way she could. And after she told me that she would really rather give it up for a variety of reasons, she's needed to continue. And without complaint, she has always responded. Whenever I've had a question or a concern, she's always given me all the information I've needed. She's worked with the national office. And Nora, I cannot thank you personally enough or on behalf of the Federation of Massachusetts. We would not be where we are today without you. So I want to award you the 2021 Federationist of the Year from Massachusetts.
Thank you very much. Now I feel really guilty about leaving as the treasurer. Is this a major guilt trip to get me to stay on?
No. I promised you that I was going to help you get off, and I've done it. So we're good.
Oh, gosh. Well, thank you very much. It was totally worth, you know, if you're going to do something, do it right. And so I certainly there was not a single circumstance under which I would leave you guys in the lurch. So I've just kept on keeping on, but thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate it as well. So thank you. And we'll hear more from Nora a bit later for the treasurer's report.
Oh, I thought that was the preamble to the treasurer's report.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, we'll get there. Give me a minute.
Okay. I'll mute myself then. Thank you all.
That's okay. 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 And I want to move on to the voting for the resolution. Now, those of you who registered to vote on time are eligible. If you didn't register to vote on time, you will not be able to vote on this. And we had to implement a voter registration separate from the regular registration because we had to account for the number of votes we would potentially need because our costs are associated with that. If you do not call in or text with the number that you gave during registration, your vote will not be counted. So I'd like to have the vote now on the resolution that and read yesterday. And if you give me just a moment, I'm gonna give you the number that we're going to use to vote. Now, if you vote yes on the resolution, you put in yes, you text it, or you call in to the number I'm about to give you. If you vote that you don't approve of the resolution, then you would put no. Okay. Now the number, and I'll repeat it. It is 351 333 1966 351 333 1966. I'll repeat it a third time. 351 333 1966. Does anybody need to repeat that again?
It's also in the chat to everybody.
Hey, would you repeat it one more time, please? Yep. This is Karen.
Sure. 351.
Slowly.
Yep. 351. 333 1966.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody got that? Hold on.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah. We're just getting the poll ready. I'm going to get you in 1 second. We're just getting the poll ready.
I selected that. I don't know if everyone's pretty much.
All right. Everybody, please now vote. And again, you can text or phone call to that number, 351 333 1966.
Amy, this
Yes.
is Nora. I just texted and I got a response that said, "Thank you for your interest, but there is currently no active poll."
Oh, it should be. Try it again. All right, hold on.
Georgie, I just did it.
Did you get in?
Georgie said the same.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just sent mine 2 seconds ago. Same as Nora's message.
Okay, hold on a second. I've got somebody who's not used to doing this, but hold on.
Yeah, Amy, it says our call cannot be computed.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, and this is Helen. It says I'm not registered, but I received a confirmation from you as being registered as a voter. So I'm getting a message saying that I'm not listed on the.
Are you using the same number?
I'm using the very same number. You only have one.
Okay, hold on.
Uh-huh.
The system is great when it works. And when it doesn't work, it gives us trouble. So just bear with us for 1 minute, please.
And now, by the way, it's saying, I'm sorry, there are currently no active polls.
Yeah, just give her a minute, Helen.
Yeah, no, I was just letting her know what the messages are.
Yeah, that's what we're all getting at the moment.
Oh, okay. But mine also said I wasn't registered, so.
Alt F mute, currently unmuted. Alt plus A button to activate.
We're trying to create the poll again. It's not allowing us to activate the first one. I don't know why. So we're setting it again. So just give us a moment. I'm sorry.
Hey, Margaret, tell us a joke while we're waiting.
I guess Margaret has no jokes.
I was going to say Margaret should give us a door prize while we're waiting.
Yeah. Amy, would that be okay to do a door prize?
I know there's only a limited number.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be fine. I just had to unmute. Sorry.
Would it be okay for us to do a door prize?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Sorry, I just had to unmute.
Yeah, no. Okay.
I think we have a $20 cash prize.
None of those people called in, by the way.
None of those people. So, well, we got plenty then. Yep. Our next person is Carrie Svensson.
I am here.
Yeah. Okay.
Congratulations. All right. And another $20 cash prize.
Can't do it.
And the next person is Earl Williams.
Earl Williams, I think he's here.
Earl?
I saw his name.
I saw his name earlier too.
I don't.
I'm here. I just had to unmute. I'm here.
Okay.
There you go. Well, congratulations.
Congratulations. Two of the committee chair people just won. Woo-hoo.
That's great. There we go.
While we're doing
Convention.
this, while we're trying to deal with the polling problem, it's a good thing we didn't have to pay much money for this, you guys. I'm going to be reporting this to them. Okay, so while we're doing this, let us start. Nora, why don't you give your treasurer's report?
Sounds like a plan. I was actually going to offer to enchant you with my mesmerizing treasurer's report while we wait. If anybody's wondering how much that poll cost, $7.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the National paid the rest, actually. National paid quite a bit of money, but I'm not as worried about them as I am about us.
Oh, I was looking at the $7 bill thinking, you really get what you pay for. Okay, so the beginning balance for the NFB of Massachusetts at the beginning of 2020 was $119,173.05. As you guys can imagine, it was not a particularly eventful year as far as income or expenditures. Our one major bump in income came from a $25,000 gift from the Beggs Trust, which came in June. The expenses were pretty typical. Most of our expenses are incurred in March, unless people are going to national convention. But this year, March expenses were approximately $10,000. They involved expenses for the convention, for scholarships, for travel to the Washington seminar, that sort of thing. In July, we donated $1,200 to the 4 different NFB scholarship funds for the national convention. In October, our annual insurance payment was due. That's approximately $2,000. And in December, we pay $575 to have the NFB of Massachusetts website redone. So little bits of income and expenses otherwise, but Our ending balance is substantially higher. It's $127,837.24 as of the end of January.
Great.
So
And
as
also,
far as
yeah. And
finances,
also, there's an
we're fine.
addition. Yeah, there's also an additional $2,000 that we need to get out
In
of
the
PayPal,
PayPal, right?
which we're working on. PayPal's giving us a little bit of a hassle, but we are working on that. So we will be able to add the $2,000 to that total. Does anybody have any questions on the treasurer's report?
No hands.
Make a motion to accept.
Okay, we have a motion to accept. Do we have a second?
Motion
I second it.
seconded.
Okay, all those in favor? Let's just unmute, please.
Aye.
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 Anybody say no?
Aye.
Anybody say no? Okay. Terrific. All right, while we're still trying to resolve the voting issue, let's, I'd like just brief chapter reports from the 3 chapter. Let's start in reverse order. So we'll in the alphabet. So we'll do the Greater Springfield chapter first. Basil?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Springfield is doing reasonably well at this point. We have implemented a lot of the newer things that are going on throughout the year and that have gone on throughout the past year. So I think we're in decent shape, and we're plugging along through this epidemic situation or pandemic situation as best we can. We're doing our meetings are now being done exclusively over the phone and or internet. So we have access all the way around, and things are looking good.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. Could we have the Cambridge chapter next?
Hello, good morning, everyone. So happy to see everyone here, and I hope you have enjoyed your convention. This is Shara Winton, the chapter president, Cambridge chapter president. And we, of course, as Basil said, that this past year has been an interesting one. Our last meeting in person was in March, shortly after this event last year. And but we have maintained some good stuff. We are meeting every month for via Zoom. We didn't meet for February because we knew we'd be meeting here today. So we didn't have a February meeting, but we have done that. We've also done many social events via Zoom. We are trying to continue to reading the book, Marching Together, Walking Alone, Marching Together. And we've gotten to about chapter 5 so far, and we want everybody to join and read that book to really understand that the NFB is a civil rights movement and how it came to be and why it's so important that we continue the fight. And so we're really trying to help everybody understand the history and the importance of what the NFB is and what the NFB does. So if you don't have that book, let us know and we'll try to help you get that book. The library, NLS has it. You can get it on Bard. You can get it or you can get it in Braille if you prefer. You can also get it on, I think you can get it on Bookshare. Anyway, we did have the walk virtually. People were able to walk wherever they could or would. And we've been able to raise the David Tickey Walk. We named it in honor of David Tickey, who has been, one of our fearless leaders in this movement in Massachusetts from the beginning. And he's wonderful. So we wanted to name it in his honor while he was So he knew that, so that he knows that, and we wanted to honor him. So this year we didn't raise as much as usual. We've raised a little over $6,000, but we can still take donations and still be happy to do that for anybody who wants to do that. And we are continuing to grow, continuing to try to reach out to people, and hope that this year will get better, and hope we can see everybody in person soon. That's what we're hoping. So that's about it for the Cambridge chapter for this 2020.
Terrific. Thanks, Shara. And last but not least, our newest chapter, the at-large chapter.
Good morning, everyone. As Amy has said, throughout this convention, we are the newest chapter, and we currently stand at 8 members, which I think we're very pleased with. It has been received positively, and we're hoping to expand and do more outreach. We will start discussing soon better ways to do that. Of course, even in normal times, we will be a virtual meeting to encompass people from around the state who either don't have a local chapter meeting, or in the case of some of us that are students, we're always in class when meetings go on in our area, because they typically happen at night. So we have a weekend meeting. We alternate between Saturday and Sunday. We always keep the time the same, 11 a.m. And that seems to be working. We will revisit that if it seems to, not work for people. But for the most part, it allows people who maybe have to work on Saturday to not always miss a meeting. And we're hoping to do some projects, but we're still in the very beginning stages. Some of our members are completely new to the NFB, so we've spent a lot of time discussing the different issues and just making sure everyone knows different things. And we hope to have regular, maybe every few months, a visitor who's important to either a company or the NFB to come and speak and just bring that education. And we hope to continue discussions and have, deep discussions about some of the issues we care about as well, to keep everyone engaged and feel like they can speak their opinions, and we can hopefully come up with solutions to things we all care about.
Hello?
We're still here. I mean, that's all I have. I'm assuming Amy.
Okay, sorry, I thought I lost connection.
No.
Sorry about that.
I think Amy's just trying to find her unmute button again.
No, I'm doing two things at once. I'm trying to get this login stuff to work correctly so that we can actually do the voting, and I'm listening to you at the same time. So thank you, Carrie, I appreciate it. Okay. The next thing that I want to do is to thank our patient national rep. Sean, I requested you as our national rep, and because I wanted, first of all, I wanted to get to work with you a little bit. You and I always talk about working together, and then sometimes it doesn't happen because of both of our crazy busy schedules. So I asked that you be our representative. You graciously accepted, and I just want to say what a pleasure it has been for all of us to have you join us this weekend with your wisdom, your personal story, your personalized shout outs. We greatly appreciate your being here with us. And I just want to say, on behalf of the Federation of Massachusetts, how proud we are to have you as a leader, how proud I am to have you as a colleague, and just how much we appreciate your time, particularly because I know you have a lot of other things going on. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy. It was truly a pleasure for me. I really enjoyed this convention. I mean, one thing you know this as well when you go to different conventions as well, you want to get something out of it, right? And I mean, I got a lot out of this convention. I mean, if you left this convention not learning something, then you clearly was on mute and you weren't paying attention. So this has been wonderful. I truly just, again, thank you for for even requesting me. The planning committee for this convention, y'all did a wonderful job. Just keep up the good fight. I mean, y'all have a wonderful affiliate, and anytime y'all need my support, I'm there for you. Trust me, I will definitely be there for you. And I just thank you again. And I'm telling you, my promise is I will be at one of your conventions in person as just a regular old federation that's just hanging out. So I'm looking forward to that as well. But I thank you again, Amy.
Well, thank you, and we will count on that. I'm going to hold you to it.
I was about to say, we're going to hold him
we
to
are
that
holding
one.
you to that, Sean.
Yes,
You might get an email from all of us when we have the next in-person convention. Are you coming?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to come. Yeah, but hold me to it. Trust me. Just hold me to it. No problem.
And we want the princess and your wife as well.
Yes, we are all coming as a family. We'll be there.
All right.
Maybe Nick
Right.
will
We
even
look forward
donate
to
a
it.
free trip for you.
Okay. Wow. What I'm going to do now, I apologize for the delay. Let's take a 5-minute bio break. And so come back, let's say, let's come back. Let's take an 8 minute. Let's come back at 11:15. Again, my apologies. I'm gonna try this on my computer because the computer that the person is trying to use is not connecting properly to the login credentials. So I'm gonna switch to my cell phone and have them remote into my computer and see if that works better. So, well, let's take a bio break for 8 minutes and come back at 11:15. And again, my apologies.
Okay. We have tried it. It still is not working. I don't know what happened. I know it worked Friday because I did it Friday morning. I don't know what happened. I don't know why it didn't work. My apologies. We have, as I see it, we have two choices. The first one is to have people vote by saying yes, aye or no, by voice vote, which is not a good thing on Zoom. I recognize its limitations. The other option would be to postpone the voting until we can get this straightened out. And I'm very open to hearing suggestions on this. This was unanticipated. We've
Amy?
tried now from 5 devices.
Amy, I have a suggestion, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
What about the hand raising system for voting?
We could do that. We could also do hand raising. Yes, we could. We could do that. That would be another option. The only thing.
Everybody can't.
Yeah, but I don't know how to do the hand raising. I'm on the phone.
A lot of people are unsure about that, and I think we should just postpone. That's my
That's what I think. On the phone, it's *9.
Yeah, it is *9.
You also have
raise
the
your
issue
hand.
of people are here that are not registered to vote. So
yes, that's
also an issue with doing it directly on Zoom. So I would say we postpone it until we can do it the way that we want it.
Yeah, that's
Amy, as a person who, Amy, this is Mark.
Yeah.
As a person who is on the slate, I would say postpone.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I agree
same.
with that. I think we should postpone it. This is Barbara.
Okay.
Amy, I'm sorry. I missed the very first part of what you said.
What I said was it's not, we are not able to get this to work. It worked Friday. I don't know why it didn't work today. It may be a problem they're having on their system because we've now tried from 5 different devices.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had several people try. So I don't think it's going to work. I'm so sorry. And this was unanticipated. There's nothing we can do. So the suggestion has been to postpone. Does anybody have another suggestion?
I would postpone. Yeah. I
No,
think
another suggestion. I want to know from anybody else, anybody who does not think we should postpone. I've heard that from a number of people, so we don't need to repeat that. But if anybody has another suggestion or preference, please state it now.
Amy, just David Tiki, just a thought. If we postpone the board elections, would we perhaps be able to move forward today with a vote on a resolution? Would people be more comfortable with that?
No.
That's one person. What about the rest? That was my next question. Thank you, David.
As far as the resolution, I'm okay with it personally, but I just don't. The whole thing with Zoom, whether you do it with the hand or verbal vote, it's just not anonymous. Like, it just doesn't feel the same.
Yeah.
That's kind of my 2 cents on it.
I would be okay with the resolution, but I'm also okay postponing that as well. But I think the resolution, we could definitely vote on Zoom if people wanted to, but the elections, I think, should wait.
I agree.
I think both of them should be able to wait because I personally want to do it all at one time.
Okay.
I agree. I think it all should wait.
Okay.
I did too.
All right.
I did too.
So now here's what we have to do, and this is going to be a problem. All right. So we're going to have to agree on a date and time to do this. And I know that that's difficult because everybody has carved out today for the convention and for voting. I understand that. So we were going to have to come up with a date and time to do this.
Could you do like a doodle poll at some point in the next week or so with like 3 different dates?
No, I don't do Google polls. Sorry.
Doodle is not always accessible.
I'm not a doodle person. I want to do something I can access. Yes.
Sarah, I have a comment, please.
Please.
Okay, I recommend I make a motion, let me start the suggestion without making a motion. I think that it would be a good idea maybe if we vote that the existing board stay in place for 1 more year, and then in 1 year.
No, I do not want to do that. No. I appreciate the idea, but I don't want to do that. I think we need to get this fixed. And I think we need to, I would like to conduct the vote, and the resolution cannot wait. We cannot wait on that. If we wait another year, we're going to lose our opportunity. And I think the election, I think the elections should, I don't want to postpone it for another year. People have worked hard. The nominating committee have worked hard. So I prefer not to postpone. I think Stephanie raised her hand.
Yes. I don't know if doing a poll in Zoom that it's possible to pick a date will work. That way there's not so many people like talking or in the chat or trying to get their vote for the new date at the same time. There's a feature that you can like throw a poll right here in Zoom and everybody can like answer it.
Again, you've got the problem. You don't know who's registered, who's not, who's.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look on the whole registration list, which is over 100 people, and try to connect up with phone numbers and dates and whatever. I mean, we could do that, but it will take quite a long time.
Amy?
Yeah.
Amy, this is Nora. Oh,
yeah. Go ahead. I heard a gentleman first.
Yeah, Amy, it's Mark.
Yes.
I would suggest either this Monday at 8 o'clock or this Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Get it over and done with.
Wednesday might give you more time.
So, Amy, this is Nora.
Yeah,
I don't know how the poll system works. Is there a reason that everybody has to vote at the same time? I mean, if everybody's registered and it's this software program.
Yes, because you have to enable the poll and disable it after a certain number of minutes. That's why.
It has to be minutes. It can't be hours.
No,
we couldn't.
No, they don't allow for that. They don't allow for that.
Amy,
Hold on. Everybody, hold. Everybody, please.
I'm going to mute everybody until Amy calls on you.
Okay, hold on. So, Kevin, I want you to play Traffic Cop. So who has their hand raised? Let's go with the first person on the list who has their hand raised.
All right, Stephanie Valdez.
Okay, Stephanie, go.
I already went. That's from before.
Okay.
Okay. Phone number 4376.
Who is that? Ending in 4376?
It's Theodora. My suggestion for postponement is maybe we can do it this coming Sunday, next week.
Yep.
The voting.
That would be an idea that I had as well. That would give me a few days to get this straightened out.
Yeah, because I thought postponing, that's what I thought you meant, not a whole year, but next week, possibly, the Sunday
Okay.
again.
Thank you for your suggestion. Who else has a hand raised?
Shara.
Okay, Shara.
No, I don't have anything else to add. It's just-
Okay.
Okay.
All
Thank you.
right. Jennifer Bose.
Jennifer? Jen?
Yes. What about an asynchronous voting with everybody who's registered? Just do a poll that on Zoom that could be anonymous and just have everybody vote yes or no.
No,
I don't think polls can be done on the
polls
phone.
are not as easily done on with Zoom. You have to be connected. It's not you can't do it over the phone, to my knowledge. Next. Who's next?
Barbara Lomax.
Barbara?
Hi. Yeah, I agree with just picking a day and just, hopefully giving people enough time to, just vote. And that's probably the easiest thing to do.
Okay. Another raised hand.
We got, let's see, Debbie M.
Debbie.
Hi. Is there any way that, like, to all the non-voting people, we could just leave the Zoom and you could do whatever you needed to do and then call us back so there's so that you have privacy and the right thing, maybe even just for the resolution or something?
Well, the difficulty is that you're talking about calling 45 people back. That's kind of a lot to handle, but we could do. I mean, another option we would have.
To give you
we could have. I mean, I could have everybody. But it doesn't give anonymous, which is why I didn't suggest it.
Right.
I could have everybody text me because everybody knows my number or call me, but that's not anonymous and private, so I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But thank you.
Okay.
Next.
Precious.
Precious, go ahead.
Hi. So one more option that I thought of that's asynchronous is a Google form. Like if you had the slate up there and people could just go in and check who they want and submit those forms, we count the votes that way. If picking a date and time is something that's hard for some of us to be able to all vote together.
Yeah, thank you. The problem with that
can also
is
be
that
anonymous.
the problem with that is that not everybody is comfortable with Google Forms or is using a computer. Anybody else raise their hand? Mark?
To be honest, I just vote for either doing it Wednesday or next Sunday, giving you enough time to fix the problem and getting us to vote as soon as possible.
Anybody have a different suggestion or comment that has not been suggested already?
All right, I'm gonna lower hands because there's a bunch of hands. All right, and if you have something different, go ahead and raise your hand again.
All right, this is remote.
No, let's raise hands, please. *9 if you're on the phone.
Lee Dallow, go ahead and unmute. Lee, go ahead.
Oh, Lee, I'm sorry, Lena, go ahead.
And Lee's unmuted a bit.
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if this will work, but how about
just the good old fashioned snail mail
Oh
ballot.
God, no.
Just don't put your return address
Take
on
too
them.
long.
No.
Take too long. Thank you, though, but take too long. I don't want to collect 45.
It has to be
Have to chase
anonymous.
people.
Yeah,
It has to be
anonymity and
But thank you.
Yeah, assuming if you didn't put your return address and they just went to the individual certain people,
No.
but otherwise, yeah, I think you have to wait.
Okay. Who's next?
we
And
got
again,
Stacy.
and again,
Lee.
this is for different suggestions or comments.
Stacy Lee, Philadelphia.
Okay, Stacy?
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Oh, I was just maybe suggesting if you guys go into a breakout room and leave the public in the main lobby.
No, because it's not anonymous.
Yeah, it's not anonymous. You can't do it. But thank you. Okay, who's next?
Vinod.
Who?
Hi, Amy. This is Vinod.
Yes.
Amy, I was just trying to know how many resolutions are there today?
There's one resolution, but there's also elections for 8 positions.
Yeah, because what I was thinking, there may not be much, where voting is needed. If the can be done, if there is no voting needed, we can do it today. So.
Right, but I don't think we know that. We don't know. People can be nominated from the floor, and I wouldn't want to discourage that, but thank you.
Jeanette.
Forget my suggestion because
Okay.
Amy just made the point I hadn't considered.
Phone number 4249.
David? No, who's that? Who's 4249?
Okay, you're unmuted. Yep.
This is David. I don't know if you heard me. My question's been answered. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Anybody else with a raised hand?
Barbara Lomax.
Barbara?
Yeah, I was thinking about for those who couldn't make the meeting, if we could do some sort of absent ballot or something
No.
like that for
No,
those
you have
people.
to be in the room. The Constitution requires it. There's no absentee or proxy voting.
Okay.
Constitution doesn't allow it.
Okay.
Robert
Sorry.
Barron.
Bob?
Currently unmuted. Hold
Hello,
play
it's
button.
Bob. Is there any way we could just do the resolution today and pick next Sunday at the same time for voting?
Okay, so that's your suggestion?
Yeah.
That's an option. Okay. Anybody else?
And Georgie's last one.
Okay, Georgie, and this will be it for discussion. Please go ahead, Georgie.
Hey, sorry, just making sure I'm off. Yeah, resolution, get the resolution over with today, even if we have to sacrifice anonymity because we need it time-wise. And then as far as next Sunday, I don't know. With the resolution out of the way, I'm more okay with not being as in a bigger hurry with the elections as with the resolution. Personally, like we did almost vote to delay this a year initially, like a few months ago, just like throwing that out there. That was one of the first things that was suggested before we even got this voting platform. So it's not like this is a new idea to delay it, but I'm okay with meeting next Sunday. I just wanted to throw that out there that was on the table like months ago.
Thank you. Okay.
Hi, this is Masha calling on another phone, and I was wondering if we could open the floor for nominations for each office to see whether we do have any contested elections, and if not, then we could vote by acclamation.
That's a good and interesting suggestion. What do people think about that?
That's a good idea.
I love that suggestion.
Sounds good.
I think it's a good suggestion. This is Karen.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anybody do
A
not
great
think,
suggestion.
anybody who doesn't think that's a good suggestion, please speak up.
Elizabeth?
Go ahead.
So I definitely don't think that is a bad suggestion by any means, Amy. I just think that it should be a group consensus opinion that no
I
one
totally
should
agree.
feel
And that's what I'm trying to
discouraged.
get right now.
Yep, no one
Yeah,
should feel discouraged from running
absolutely.
to make it easier or anything
Absolutely.
like that.
Correct. Absolutely agree.
I think this is Shara. I think we should just wait. I think we need to wait, whether it's 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. I think we need to wait for the whole thing. So, I mean, except for the resolution, obviously. The resolution, we need to do that. I think we do need to do that.
Okay. All right. So we have three. I'm going to stop discussion because for now, I think we've got three options on the table. The first option is to set, we could wait a year. I really don't want to wait a year because there are maybe people who want to serve who would then not have the opportunity. So I really would not want to wait a year. But so the first suggestion is I would say to wait 1 week and to have us reconvene on Sunday. And have people vote at that time. That's one suggestion. And I would say with that one, I would like to vote on the resolution if we do it in 1 week, we can vote on everything in 1 week. The second suggestion would be to vote on the resolution today, and to postpone the voting. And the third one, what Masha suggested, was to have us see if there are any contested elections and try to determine that today. So I think the only way we can do this without having everybody speak individually would be to do a voice vote. And if it looks close, then we'll do it a different way. So all those in favor of postponing everything for 1 week, please say aye.
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 Okay. All those who do not like that idea and want another option, say no.
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 No. No.
Okay, and please don't say no or aye twice. It sounded to me like the ayes have it, but I would, if somebody feels differently.
Sounded to me like the ayes have it.
We could
raise our hand.
Let's raise hands.
No.
I cannot. My computer is not allowing me to raise my hand. I don't know why, but I cannot raise my hand.
It's because you're a co-host. I can take everybody off co-host if you want.
Take everybody off co-host. We got too many co-hosts on here anyway.
And I can't raise my hand either.
Yes, because you're a co-host. Hold on.
That's weird. I was able to raise my hand when I was a co-host.
Oh, that's lovely.
It doesn't always work though, Carrie.
Zoom will do all kinds of strange things.
Okay.
It doesn't always work.
We're shaking a. And I want only people who are registered to vote to please raise your hands. Those of you who are not registered to vote, please don't do that because this really affects the people who registered to vote.
More when I register. Come on. We're two people, but we're on here as one.
All right, all co-hosts.
We have to do the one.
I'm going to mute everybody.
Cancel.
Okay.
Amy, this is Helen. As I said, I registered to vote. You confirmed it, but when I called in, unless everyone who tried to call in said there's no phone number associated with that vote. So I am registered to vote, but I was told that I wasn't by the system. But did that happen to everybody?
No, Helen, I'm gonna look into that situation because you are registered. I see you on the list.
Okay.
You should be fine.
Okay.
I will check on that and make sure that you're able to vote.
Okay, I just wanted to know in terms of now, because I assume I should just go ahead and vote now as well on the
Yes, yes. No. You are registered to vote. Yes, absolutely. Please. Okay. All right. All those in favor of voting a week from today. All those in favor of voting a week from today on the resolution and on the slate of elections, raise your hand, please.
If you dialed in on a phone, *9 to raise your hand. If you are registered to vote. And you tell me when to get the count. Amy.
I'm sorry.
Alt wire *9.
All right, it's been sitting at 20 for a sec.
Kevin, I still don't have the option to raise hand, but I'm saying yes to it. But I have to go right now, so whatever you guys decide is okay with me.
Okay, Earl, thank you.
Okay, so that's 21 still. And it hasn't changed since.
Okay, let's change. Now, I know there are a couple people that are on one line. Carol and Basil specifically.
Okay, yeah, let's see.
So I don't know whether you're both voting the same.
No, still same.
Okay.
So 21 yeses.
Okay. 21 yeses.
I'm gonna lower all hands.
Yep. We have
Okay.
a potential of 45 people voting. I don't know that all 24 of the other folks are on. But okay. So the next, I'm trying to remember which option I said next. Sorry. So the next thing we could do would be to vote on the resolution today and to postpone the election for another year. So those who are in favor of that option, please raise your hand.
I thought you said postpone it for another week.
No, no, that was the first option, Jeanette.
No, the second. I never heard you say postpone the election for a year.
It wasn't a year. She just said postpone. She didn't give a time frame, but it wasn't a week.
Yeah. No, it was a week. To postpone the election for a week and do it next Sunday was the first option.
Right. But I didn't realize the second one meant postpone.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, I would postpone it to a different date.
Matter.
I mean, it would. Shara's suggestion was a year.
Okay.
I didn't hear anybody else say a month or whatever. So that's why I put that in. But
That's
postpone the election
for me. It's
indefinitely. Indefinite. I mean, until. I mean, I don't think it's going to be hard. You're going to have to decide on a time frame to postpone the election for. I can have discussion on that if people want to. But we have to, I think, the suggestion was a year.
If you dialed in *9, Alt Y if you're on a Windows computer, raise your hand. There's none so far.
Okay, anybody who wants to do that, postpone for a year. Do the resolution today, postpone for a year. Okay, no hands?
Just one.
One. Okay. I'm afraid one, you're outnumbered. Okay, let's close this down.
Okay.
And the lower hands, and the other option would be that Masha suggested would be to take to see if there are candidates who want to be nominated from the floor to serve in any positions that are up for election. And to decide to look at that today, and if there are no uncontested positions, to have those folks voted in by acclamation. And that would be, I think, voting on the resolution today. If you want that option, raise your hand.
Amy, it's Carol. Basil and I go for that option.
Okay.
Okay, so that's 2.
Okay.
All right, so if you dialed in, *9. If you're on a computer, Alt-Y, raise
Amy
your hand.
and Isaac, I will vote on the resolution today. That's my option.
Okay, but that's only part of that's only part of this option. The other part of the option is that we would have people who are up for election. We would have the voting. We would have the option so that people could identify themselves as wanting to be considered for a position. And if nobody wanted to be considered for a position other than the nominated candidates from the nominating committee, we would then decide that those folks would be elected by acclamation. So make sure that it's a two-part option. Resolution today.
I'm sorry, when we voted on the first option, for some reason I thought we were just voting up or down on it, and I'd actually prefer this one. So is it okay to change your vote or not?
As long as you tell me that you're changing it, we can adjust the numbers. But people need to really listen, so thank you.
Okay, sure.
All right, so please raise your hand. *9 on the phone.
And if you changed it from a previous one, please announce.
You have to announce because we've already got numbers.
So right now it's at 12. And that's counting that we took a 1 off the first one. So that's, yeah.
Okay. All right. Assuming everybody has now voted, are we still at 12?
It's 13 now.
13. I'll give you another 10 seconds. Still holding?
Yep, same.
Okay. Everybody can lower their hands. We are going to vote both on the resolution and on the elections in 1 week. Now, I would propose that we do this at, we do it at a very particular time. My thought might be that we would do it at like 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. If people have a strong preference for time, we cannot accommodate everybody. I will tell you that if you cannot be here at the time we specify, you will have the option, if you are a registered voter, it would not give you privacy, but you would have the option to let me know what your vote is. But I know that's not a good solution, but we probably cannot come up with a time that's ideal for everyone, just as we had people here, people who registered who are not here today. So, some people I know go to church. I mean, I just know that there are lots of things, but I would propose like 10 or 11 in the morning. If anybody else has a particular time that they think is supportable, please let me know.
And that would be Sunday the 28th?
That would be Sunday the 28th. Yes.
Robert Barron?
Bob?
11, please.
10:30 a.m.
10:30?
Helen?
Yeah, because that's when this board meeting started. I get it.
Yeah, this is Helen. My preference is as early as possible for church going. So my preference would be around 9:30 or 10, the latest.
I'd say 9:30. We'd be good for 9:30.
Phone number ending in 8074.
Hi. Hi, it's Masha, and I would go for either like 9:30 or after 11 because I am doing church from 11 from 10 to 11.
Okay. We're not going to be able to accommodate everybody, unfortunately. Anybody else have strong feelings?
Amy, this is
Yes,
Basil.
I would say either around 9:30, or the other option I was thinking about is, I believe we have a call for the chapter presidents and you around 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So we could possibly, I'm thinking maybe 4 or 4:30.
Yeah. Okay. Any other strong feelings?
Shara?
Yes, I think that I'm thinking maybe we should do it in the afternoon so that all the people going to church, because different people have church schedules, and then it won't affect all the church people. And then maybe if we do it in the afternoon, they would be back from church. So that would be great. Like 1 o'clock.
Anybody have a different suggestion? Different. A different suggestion only.
I think since people were willing to accommodate today, even though they had church obligations, it is quite reasonable to ask them to do the same next week. This is a different set of circumstances that we could not predict, and I think we need to be respectful of Amy's time because she's the one that has to set it all up and do the best we can to accommodate her in the morning.
Any other comments before we vote?
I second that. I second her.
Okay, thank you.
But some people have evening plans, afternoon plans.
Asking people to miss one Sunday is one thing. Asking people to miss 2 Sundays is.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
Go ahead, Isaac.
It's Kobana.
I'm sorry, Kobana. So many people are talking, I can barely hear. I apologize. Kobana, go ahead.
Since the suggestion was made to accommodate your preference, perhaps you could tell us what your preference is, and then we will hear it, and then we sort of, go along with that.
Well, I want this to be a majority. I appreciate that thought. And believe me, I do have preferences, but I want to go with what the majority would like. So I'm going to make a suggestion that we do the following. We either select 9:30, or I do not want to pile this on top of a chapter president's meeting. So either at 9:30 or at 1 p.m. And I'll take the majority. So
we can do it in the raise hand thing again.
So that's yes. So those who want us to meet at 9, and I apologize that we couldn't do this today. I don't have any control over it, but I do apologize. So 9:30, those who want 9:30, raise your hand, please.
If you're on a Windows machine, Alt-Y, phone, *9. We're at 10 and it's sitting still for a sec.
Hold on. Okay. What is the count?
Still 10.
10. Okay. Put your hands down. Okay. I didn't vote actually because I couldn't get the damn participants thing out of the way. Okay. So at 1 o'clock, those who want 1 o'clock, not yet, because I want to make sure we got all our hands lowered.
They were lowered, yeah.
Okay, those who want 1 o'clock, raise your hands.
I can't raise my hand.
We're having some difficulty on our end raising our hand, Amy. So
which one did you?
1 o'clock is good.
All right.
1 o'clock is good.
You want 1 o'clock
for both of us.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so right now, counting them, it's at 18. So it's
okay. Well, it's pretty clear. All right. And again, those of you who cannot make it at 1 o'clock, I apologize. You are still welcome to vote. I'm going to put something out on the listservs. You are still welcome to vote. But you will not have anonymity in terms of it, because I would have to count your votes. So if anybody is in that situation, please contact me and we will work something out. What I'll actually do is probably have you send your votes. You won't be able to, well, the election, if you're not there, the election, you're not going to know who to vote for, but you can send the vote on the resolution. And if you are wanting to elect the current slate, you could send that, and I will have that sent to a person who's not affiliated, who is going to do the vote for us. Okay. So if you're in that situation, if you're not going to be able to attend at 1 o'clock next Sunday and you still want to vote, please get in contact with me and I will send you the name of the email of the person you can put your vote through, so that it will be anonymous to us, to all of us in the Federation. Okay? All right. Let's do some door prizes, please. Goodly, no, I just can't. What a way. We've had such a great convention, and look what's happened at the end. So let's end on some high notes and do these door prizes. Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We hear you.
Oh, okay, good. I was like, oh my God, I made that whole speech and nobody could hear me. And let's do, I don't know how many door prizes we have left. I want to save one for the end. While we're waiting, actually, I'll do it now. While we're waiting, I want to thank, there's so many people. I'm going to miss somebody and I'm so sorry. If I do, I want to thank Kevin from Colorado. You have been such a trooper. You've moderated, you've done all the hosting for almost every session that you could have. And you're not even from Massachusetts. So if we can ever return the favor, please let us know. Thank you so much for your work.
No problem.
I want to thank the convention committee. All of you did such a great job. I purposely stepped back and didn't do as much of the heavy lifting as I usually do. And you guys were great. And that's, I hope I don't leave somebody out. Somebody interrupt me if I do. That's Cheryl Winton, Carrie Svensson, Cullen Gallagher, Margaret O'Donnell, Earl Williams. Did I leave anybody out? I want to thank Margaret and Lorna for door prizes. You guys did such a great job. I want to thank everybody who moderated on Friday and helped people get to Zoom in the way that they could. So thank you to all of you. I'm not sure I know all of who did it, but those of you who did, thank you. I also want to thank those people who presented both Friday, but particularly on Saturday. I think the panels were terrific, and some of you took tremendous risks. And I just very much appreciate the fact that you made yourselves vulnerable and opened yourselves to our questions and our concerns. So thank you to you. I want to thank John Oliveira, who's unfortunately not here at the moment. I want to thank John for his auctioneering. And I want to thank my husband, Jim, for helping call all those credit cards in and getting that done, and overall assistance with taking messages from people when I was on doing other business. So, and I want to thank the nominating committee and the scholarship committee. And if I missed anybody, please understand that I apologize profusely and that you have my thanks and appreciation. Okay, let's do some door prizes.
Okay, I think we only have a couple left. So we have a $20 cash prize, and that will go to Karen Dupree.
Karen. I think Karen is on.
I think she was there a little while ago.
Hope she stayed on.
Let's see if she's on.
There's
Her
a
number
phone
ends
number.
in 3297.
I'm here.
Hey,
Good,
okay.
congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Great. All right.
Okay. And our big prize for the day is a $50 cash prize, and that goes to Doreen Cornwell. She may not be there.
I don't think she's here today.
Yeah, she was
Doreen-
here yesterday, but I don't think she's
No,
here.
I don't. She don't. She's from out of state, so
Yeah.
let's draw another name.
All right. So our winner is Jeanette Kutash.
Oh, Jeanette.
She's here. Okay.
Oh my God. Thank you so much.
Okay.
It's like totally out of what I expected this weekend.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Congratulations.
You're going to be $50 richer, Jeanette.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
So thank you to everyone. Again, my apologies about the voting. We will get to the bottom of this beginning tomorrow. Thank you all for coming. Those of you who are local, those of you who are out of state. Thank you for everyone's attention and your interest. I will be, those of you who are particularly those of you who are interested in leadership and want that training and that opportunity, please get in contact with me. And we will hopefully be at the Embassy Suites next year, but we will talk much before then. So thank you, everyone. And congratulations on a wonderful convention.
Thank you, Amy.
You as well, Amy. Thank you so much.
Take care, Amy.
Thank you, Amy.
Good
Thank
job.
you, everyone.
Amy. Thank you,
Good job.
everybody.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Everybody, take care. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Take care.
See you all next Sunday.
Yep, see you next Sunday. Thanks for everything.
Georgie, are you
Bye-bye.
gone already?
Stay safe.
Yep, Georgie's gone.
I don't know why it wouldn't work.